Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm going to do my quick pick breakdown of the upcoming UFC 309 card tonight in New York City at Madison Square Garden. I'm going to go through all my picks, how I think they shake out, and give my winning method for all the fights. So appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe if you find any value in what I'm putting out here. So having a lot of fun doing this, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. So, all right. First fight of the night, Veronica Hardy versus Eduarda Moura. I'm going to go with Veronica Hardy in this one. I just think she's better all around. I think she's going to be the biggest opponent Moura has fought to date. She's fought a lot of smaller competition at 115, taking a big step up in competition in her first fight up a weight class at 125 against Veronica Hardy. Veronica Hardy, big for the weight class, great striking, great kicks, throws good, has good feints, and very defensively good grappling. I think that she'll be able to stay away from the fence, defend the takedowns against Moura, and just kind of expose her on the feet with her striking. I think she'll throw a lot of feints. She'll cause Moura to shoot when she's not ready, defend the takedowns, tire her out. I just think she's going to be too big for her. Not bigger, but going to be a bigger opponent than she's used to, and more highly skilled. So I'm going to go with Veronica Hardy in this one by decision. Next fight up, Oban Elliott versus Basil Hafez. I'm going to go with Oban Elliott. I think he's just the better striker. I think the key to this is he throws very down the pipe, well-placed shots, whereas Basil Hafez, he kind of loops his punches, throws a lot of power. Oban Elliott just places his shots better. He's better in the pocket, more defensively sound, just all around the better technical striker. He's got very good takedown defense for somebody from the UK. They don't primarily have a lot of wrestling there, but showing great takedown defense against Preston Parsons. Basil Hafez, he does like to mix it up and shoot in takedowns. I just think Oban's going to be able to stuff those takedowns, keep it on the feet, land the crisper punches, and essentially wear out Basil Hafez. So I'm going to go with Oban Elliott by decision in this fight. Next up, Mickey Gall versus Ramiz Brahimaj. I'm going to go with Mickey Gall in this one by decision. Ramiz Brahimaj, we saw him, very good grappler. He's beaten a lot of lesser competition. I just don't think he's going to have the physicality to bring it to Mickey Gall the way that he has to lower level competition. We saw him kind of get exposed against the bigger guy in who was it? Oh man, let's see. Court McGee. Court McGee was able to land punches, kind of do what he wanted on the feet, and then we really saw him get exposed against Themba Gorimbo, who was able to just hold him against the cage and kind of beat him up. And I think Mickey Gall, with his frame similar to Themba Gorimbo, he's a high-level black belt as well. I think that he'll be able to kind of do the same to Ramiz Brahimaj, stay out of trouble in the grappling department, and I just think he's a better striker. Maybe not a better striker, but he is willing to bite down on his mouthpiece and throw. We saw that in Basil Hafez. He was rocking him, and I think that if those punches that he landed against Basil Hafez, if he lands those on Brahimaj, he's gonna be hurting that dude. So I'm gonna go with Mickey Gall. Maybe finish. I think that he could win a decision. He could hurt him on the feet, finish him with a sub. So I just think Mickey Gall's just got more tools in the toolbox for this one. So I'm gonna go with him. Next fight, Marcin Tybura versus Jonathan Deniz. I'm gonna go with Jonathan Deniz by KO TKO late round 1, round 2. Great leg kicks, very light on his feet, great footwork for the division. Marcin Tybura gets hit a lot. He likes to sprinkle in his takedowns. That's where he wants to be on the ground. I just don't think he's going to have the. I just don't think he's going to be able to take down Jonathan Deniz. He's shown decent takedown defense against Carl Williams, who's primarily a wrestler. He did get taken down at the end of round 3, but he was winning that fight. Was hurting him round 3 before he got taken down. So I just think he's a big dude. He's 6'4", 265, legit heavyweight. Only been doing MMA for a few years now, but he is Brazilian. Find it hard to believe that he hasn't been doing any grappling. High-level kickboxer his entire career, but I imagine he'll be able to defend takedowns by Marcin Tybura, who's 38, 39, kind of end of his career. So I just think Deniz ends this one by KO, puts Marcin Tybura out. So next fight, this was recently added on David Onama versus Roberto. Won't read the nickname Romero. David Onama in this one all day. I think I forget who he's originally supposed to fight in this, but they pulled in Romero from the regional scene just to kind of save the fight. Onama's no joke. I think he fights out of the Kansas City area. So he's got talent, power in his hands, been in the UFC for a long time. Romero just very iffy. Watched a little bit of his footage. No great wins. Doesn't really do anything incredibly well, and it's just hard to pick a guy coming off of the regional scene within a few days' notice, fighting on a huge pay-per-view card against a guy like Onama. His last fight was in July, so he's not coming off the couch, but a lot of his wins just aren't the greatest competition. So I'm going to go with David Onama. I think he's a huge favorite as well. So Onama by decision, maybe KO. Next up, Jim Miller, the man, the myth, the legend, versus Damon Jackson. This is a really close one. Damon Jackson has youth. I say youth. He's 36, but he is the younger fighter. I just can't. I can't count out Jim Miller in this one. Damon Jackson, usually the bigger guy. I believe he's moving up from 145 to 155 for this fight. Jim Miller's always fought at 155. Big dude, carries power, great grappler, high-level black belt for years. I just don't think that Damon Jackson's going to be able to expose the jiu-jitsu. He might be able to take him down and lay on him in half-guard camp. I just don't see that happening. I see Jim Miller keeping him honest on the feet, defending takedowns, and kind of beating up Damon Jackson. I could see him hurting Damon Jackson, maybe knocking him out. I could also see Damon Jackson panic shooting for a takedown and Jim Miller getting him with his patented guillotine. So I'm going to go with Jim Miller. Man, I hate saying this, but I think that he could win by KO, sub, or decision, but I'll probably go with decision in this one. Next up, Chris, the eye poker Weidman versus Eric Anders. This is another close one. I just think Chris Weidman's the better fighter, better wrestling. Eric Anders likes to rely on his takedowns and shots. I just don't think that's going to work against Weidman. Anders likes to throw punches, back people against the cage, shoot in takedowns, try to beat him up on the ground. I just think Chris Weidman's going to be the one, holding the center of the octagon and pushing forward, not giving Eric Anders the opportunity to shoot. And if he does, I just don't think Eric Anders can take him down. Weidman in his last fight looks like he's kind of not concerned about his legs anymore. It was very kick heavy against Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva is a much better striker than Eric Anders, and I feel like Weidman was winning a lot of those engagements that they had. Ended up winning by a eye poke KO, which is just kind of ridiculous. But I just think Weidman's he's going to be better on the feet. He's going to be able to mix up the takedowns, keep Eric Anders guessing. He's going to be landing punches, feinting takedowns, shooting takedowns, landing leg kicks. I just think he's going to be the busier fighter in this one. So I'm going to go with Chris Weidman by decision in this. Next up, Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. Jonathan Martinez, great leg kicker. That's all he's really got, though. Doesn't have crazy hands. Doesn't take fights to the ground. You would think that with the leg kick game, he could get his hands going a little bit better than he does, but he really doesn't. He's one of the two fighters in the UFC, other than Edson Barboza, that has leg kick TKOs, two of them. So very great kicks, very dynamic. But so does Marcus McGee. Marcus McGee, quick kicks, spinning back kick, spinning wheel kicks. I think we could see a leg kick showcase in this one, but I just don't think Marcus McGee is going to give Jonathan Martinez the space to get his kicking game off. I think Marcus McGee, he's willing to shoot takedowns. He's not just going to stand there with this pure striker. He's going to be making it dirty. He's going to be pushing him against the cage, holding the center of the octagon, landing big punches, throwing his own kicks. He did very well in his previous fights in either avoiding kicks altogether or checking them, and he just doesn't take a lot of damage. Looked great in his 3 fights in the UFC, 3 finishes. He is on the older side, 34. Jonathan Martinez is 30, but Jonathan Martinez has taken a lot of damage as well. So I just think Marcus McGee is going to be able to grit this one out. Don't see this. I could see Marcus McGee winning by knockout, but more than likely I'm going to go with a decision in this one. Next up, Mauricio Rufy versus James Lontop. Mauricio Rufy all day. James Lontop, I think they're doing this at a catch weight because he is a short notice opponent, and he missed that weight as well. So that makes me think that he is just not prepared going into this fight. And you can't do that against a guy like Mauricio Rufy. That's the type of guy that you need a full training camp to even stand a chance at how good this guy looks. So Mauricio Rufy going to come in and start landing crispy shots. I think he puts Lon Top out before the third end of the third round. KO. Last time I was looking on DraftKings, I think Mauricio Rufy is a minus 900 favorite, but him by KO was like minus 150, which I thought was insane. So I definitely put some money on that. James Lontop, yet to get a win in the UFC. He's just a lamb to slaughter in this one. You'd be crazy to not pick Mauricio Rufy. So Mauricio Rufy by KO, if not KO decision. Next up, Karine Silva versus Viviane Araujo. Karine Silva, younger fighter, more well-rounded, on a crazy streak. Finished a lot of her fights in the UFC. Not her last fight, but that's just because she's starting to come across better competition as she rises in the ranks. Viviane Araujo, very 50-50 fighter, wins a fight, loses a fight. She's getting up there in age. I think she's got a puncher's chance in this fight, but I just think Karine Silva's going to be too good. Too good on the feet to stay out of trouble. Great jiu-jitsu. I could see Karine Silva keeping it on the feet for a little bit, but eventually taking her down, just beating her up on the ground the entire fight, or winning by submission. Next up, Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. Go with Bo Nickel. Paul Craig getting up there in age. The only chance that he has in this fight is to get a triangle choke that everybody and their mom knows is coming. I just don't think that Bo Nickel is dumb enough to get caught in that. I'm assuming he doesn't want to prove a point and take him down and beat him there. I think that Bo Nickel can beat him on the feet. He's got underrated striking, a lot of power. I think that he can feint with his takedowns, open up his overhand rights, open up his striking. I think that he could take Paul Craig down, stay out of trouble, beat him up on the feet, or beat him up on the ground. Sorry, we've seen Paul Craig get finished on the ground. And I just think with Bo Nickel's top game, he could get to a dominant position. Head and arm choke. He could find himself just with this pressure, getting to side control, getting to mount. Head and arm choke there all day. Could also see just in a crazy scramble him catching a guillotine on Paul Craig. So, but I'm going to go with Bo Nickel by knockout in this fight. I don't see it going a decision. Bo Nickel's either finishing fights, or Paul Craig is usually finishing fights or getting finished. These guys aren't really decision guys, so maybe some money in a fight not going the distance. But I see Bo Nickel winning this one by KO or submission. Next up, Charles Do Bronx, the legend, Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. I'm going to go Charles Oliveira in this one. More skills. Better everywhere but the wrestling department, I would say. Charles just has crispy striking. He throws great combinations, straight combinations. Michael Chandler's more of a power puncher, looping punches. I think that he can find the button in the stand-up. He throws great teep kicks. He throws great knees. I think he's going to be deterring Chandler from just shooting in the way that he lifts that knee and kind of. He did it. We saw him do it against Arman Tsarukyan just to kind of keep him thinking while he shoots takedowns. Levels above him on the ground. Charles Oliveira, I think he's got the most submissions in the UFC. We've seen Chandler get finished by submission to Dustin Poirier just being stupid, and Oliveira is light years ahead of Poirier on the ground. So 5-round fight makes it a little different. I don't know if Charles has ever gone 5 rounds. I know Michael Chandler has, but Michael Chandler coming off the couch, 2 years, 38 years old. Almost got Charles out of there early in their last fight. So is he going to come in throwing bombs, thinking that he can do the same thing, tire himself out? I don't know. But I just think Michael Chandler, if he doesn't mind his P's and Q's on the ground when he's shooting takedowns, he can get guillotine choked on the ground. He can get triangled, anything. I just think that he's not Arman Tsarukyan to where he can lay on top of Charles Oliveira and nullify his submissions and just win position game. And I don't think he's going to do that either. I think he's going to be looking to get that highlight finish, be the exciting guy, leave himself exposed to Charles Oliveira. I just don't see him grinding out a decision against Charles Oliveira and then eventually getting, a submission like Islam did, or just winning a decision kind of like some of these other people have. I see him trying to get that knockout fight of the year type of move, and I think that's going to leave a lot of openings for Charles. So I'm going to go Charles Oliveira by submission. Maybe he hurts him, puts him on the ground, subs him. Chandler shoots in for a takedown, catches a guillotine, catches him something in a scramble when this eventually hits the ground, more than likely. So, but I wouldn't put it past Charles to spark him on the feet. You got Gaethje saying Charles Oliveira he got hit the hardest he's ever been hit by Charles Oliveira. We've seen him hurt a lot of guys. Saw him hurt Beneil Dariush. I just think Charles Oliveira has so many more ways to win this fight. Michael Chandler's one way to win it is just kind of an overhand right, and I think Charles is going to be ready for that. So Charles Oliveira, submission or KO. And the main event, Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. I really think that Stipe has a chance here. A lot of people aren't giving him a chance. He's going to be the bigger guy. 248 versus John's 238. Going to have a slight reach advantage, but a reach disadvantage. But Jones is not going to have that crazy frame, size, reach advantage as he's used to having fighting middleweights. Middleweights moving up to 205 his entire career. We saw the first time he actually fought some legit 205ers who were of the next era in Dominic Reyes and Thiago Santos. They kind of exposed him, they exposed him on the feet. Dominic Reyes winning 3 of those 5 rounds. I don't care what you say, he won that fight. Thiago Santos blew out both of his knees, still getting the better of Jones on the feet. I just think Stipe is a legit, well-rounded heavyweight. We saw Jones fight Cyril Gane, but Cyril Gane is a one-trick pony. He went 3 rounds with Tai Tuivasa, which in hindsight isn't the best look. Got hurt by Tai Tuivasa. Doesn't have really any submission game. He got a heel hook way back in the day against a very low-level heavyweight. I just think Stipe Miocic, D1 wrestler, great hands. Maybe not the fastest, most explosive guy in the world, but he is durable. I do not think Jones is going to have the power to hurt him on the feet. I don't think that Jones is going to be able to keep up that kick-heavy, teep-style leg kick offense that he's used to doing at 205. I think that Stipe is going to stay in his face, maybe even shoot his own takedowns, defend a lot of Jones' takedowns. I think he's really going to give Jones a very big test at heavyweight against a guy who is finally his size or a little bit bigger. We're going to see if Jon Jones, he said himself, putting on this weight, his cardio is not as good. I just don't see him being as dynamic and fast and being able to go 5 rounds with this bigger dude. Stipe has been, always will be a heavyweight. He's been moving around these big dudes his entire career. Fought Francis Ngannou, beat him 5 rounds, the scariest striker in the world. Beat Fabricio Verdun, one of the best grapplers in the world. You know, he is beating top-tier competition and fighting them in the UFC for over a decade. This is John's first foray up at the heavyweight. I don't think that I don't think his skills that he saw at 205 against lower level fighters who are smaller, I don't think those are going to translate up to heavyweight against somebody like Stipe. Stipe is 42 years old. I get it, coming off the couch, but he also hasn't been taking injury or taking damage, hasn't been getting injured. Jon Jones coming off of a pec tear, and then I think he got some elbow surgery done as well. So Jones is the one who's coming off of a break as well, coming off of an injury. Lot of pre-fight trash talking on Jones because he is ducking Tom Aspinall. Lot of talk about what he's going to do after this fight. Not a lot of talk about Stipe. So I think that he might be looking past Stipe, and I think he's going to have a rude awakening, honestly. If he wins, I think it's a decision, but I can see Stipe taking it to him, winning the engagements on the feet, keeping it on the feet, not letting him take him down and beat him up. He's not going to press Stipe against the cage, sit on top of him, and guillotine choke him. I can tell you that. So I like Stipe in this fight, plus 440 underdog. I just think that's kind of crazy. How Tyson was a plus 180 against Jake Paul, and you're going to give Stipe Miocic plus 440. I think people are overlooking Stipe in this fight, and I think that he can get it done by I don't see KO because Jones has a pretty good chin, but I do think that Stipe can win a decision in this one. So hoping he shocks the world. thinking he has a legit shot more than people are giving him credit for. So appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate all the support. Haven't had this channel for very long, but getting some subscribers, getting some comments and interactions. So just having a lot of fun with it. So appreciate it, guys. Let me know what you think. And thanks for watching.